So sometimes when it seems like your world is in chaos or disarray, it's simply cool to ask, what's working? Guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Bird Brain Podcast, where the goal is to rise above it all, stay elevated, create that infinity, and up your you. I'm your host, Isaiah. And first, I want to shout out all my podcast subscribers. Yeah, thank you guys for showing love and just supporting, being a part of the community. It's been growing. It's been growing in such a way, and I know Apple doesn't necessarily show me all the names of the people who have subscribed, but I see the numbers growing, and I really appreciate that. And I want to just show you guys love and appreciation. Shout out to my Patreon subscribers. Shout out to my Spotify subscribers. Yeah, it's just cool. It's cool to have a community of people, looking to just grow and yeah, pouring into a space that is very important to me, and that is continuing to grow. It's so lovely to just watch how things have transpired, over the years. And it's just a testament to, like, if something is important to you, you put work into that and it will show. And this just isn't for, practical things. It's relationships too. It's yourself as well. But when you really put effort into something, it will it will grow. It will inevitably grow. And sometimes we may be disheartened or discouraged by things not happening in a way that we expected, or we feel like is the symbolism for success, or we're doing things right. And we get discouraged, right? You get discouraged, you get disoriented, you get frustrated. And I think when you are in that space, for myself at least, I simply like to ask myself, well, what is working? What is working? And it really forces you to not just look at the shortcomings or the hangups or the detours in life. It's also cool to look at, well, this is in place for a reason. Okay. And I say this as someone who has a very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm a solution based person. I like solutions, and there can be a logical component to it, but also an emotional component to it. I intuition is a very big part of my life and my makeup. You know, I don't know how I know things, but I am usually on point, and I lean into that. And when something feels important, I just kind of trust that. Even if I haven't seen the results of it yet, I trust it. And even in the eye of the storm, so to speak, I still kind of trust that something else is happening. I'll never forget, years ago, there was just like one thing after another. Like, things just kept happening. I was like, holy crap. One thing after another. And I knew at that point I had other goals in play. There were other things that I had planned and that I was pursuing and that I was eager to do. And it was always a part of my plan, my trajectory. And then I realized everything around me in my present space was just falling apart. Everything was falling apart. And it was interesting because as everything was disintegrating and everything seemed chaotic, I knew that that was information that I was getting ready for what I needed, for what I desired, for what was going to take place. And I literally just said, I was like, yeah, the fact that my foundation is breaking around me, that means that I get to start fresh elsewhere. You know, I get to start new somewhere else. And I did that. It was crazy how everything fell into place. Strange turn of events to say the least, but everything just kind of like fell into place. It was like while all these things were not working, there were other aspects of life that were very much doing that. And I had a dream, and basically I was at an airport. I don't know why I was there. I was at an airport, but I was trying to get home. And it seemed like every route to get home was just kind of difficult, you know? Difficult. It would take hours. It would take another day. I didn't even really know where home was, where I was trying to go. And just very disoriented, right? Very disoriented, very unsure, right? But there was a lot of things happening around me. And I think I had somebody with me on the journey, but it wasn't clear, right? They weren't clear. And when I woke up, I laid there for a minute and I thought about it. I was like, what does that mean? Like, what is going on right now? And I know there have been a lot of different moving pieces that have just needed to be addressed, re examined or removed. And when all those things are happening at once, there's a lot of information that's being processed and a lot of information that is being filtered. And then some pieces you may miss, right? And a lot of times when we do have things that are not working out in our favor, that is our main focus, right? We don't have the energy or have the ability to focus on anything else just because, well, I don't have time. I can't mentally focus on it. So I fixate on things. I start to unravel, and I start to question myself. Like all these things tend to happen, and it blinds us. It blinds us. And I think for me, what I always find interesting is when there are a lot of things happening, like a lot of not even chaos, just a lot of things happening, a lot of interesting components taking place in my life. I get kind of excited. I get kind of excited because it does a few things for me. One, it forces me to really create a plan of focus, right? These things are going on. All right, cool. That means these things are all seen as problems for me, as Isaiah. These are all problems for me. All right, bet. Cool. These are all problems for me. How do I attack these problems? And the way I attack it is I just get smart. I start looking at what I'm in control of. When life feels like it's out of control, that's more of an opportunity for you to focus on what you are in control of versus just being taken and swept away by it. It's like, all right, cool. What am I actually in control of? How can I manage this dynamic? How can I take care of myself? And when you do that, a beautiful thing happens because now you have some trajectory. You know what you need to focus on. And yeah, you will be hit with things here and there. However, your confidence is a little bit more secured because I know what I'm in control of and I can focus on these things. And being that I know I can focus on these things and I can control these things, that in itself is going to build a record of completion, accomplishment, achievement. Okay. It's a very interesting workaround. I was talking to my barber, and one of the things he said, he was like, good things come to those who wait. And I was like, good things come to those who wait while they are working. Good things come to those who wait while they are working. There's always work to be done, and it doesn't always mean physical work. However, it still requires your effort. Still requires your effort. So I think it's truly cool to recognize I'm putting in effort, and maybe I can pivot. Maybe it's not the effort that's necessary for this situation. However, the more I show up, the more I present myself, the more chance and probability I have for things to make a little bit more sense for me. And that's my goal. That's my goal. Okay? Life in itself is so unpredictable, if you really think about it. So unpredictable. And we wake up and we leave already with a routine in our head, or already with a laundry list of obligations that we have and stressors and everything like that. But life is so unpredictable. And when you think about it that way, sometimes it really does open up the lens in terms of what can happen. You know, your effort right now may not feel like much. Okay. You may feel like you are running in circles in a relationship. You may sometimes feel like, this relationship is all I have. If this ends, I have nothing else. You don't even know what that looks like. You're only going based on what you have in this moment. And it's so crucial to just understand, if I continue on in life, I just continue without this person. It doesn't mean I stop living. It doesn't mean I don't have the ability to meet new people. I always say people are not disposable. People are not disposable. However, you can recognize that when you are releasing certain relationship dynamics, it literally and figuratively creates room for another relationship, another possibility, another possibility. But it's so crucial and necessary to just recognize that. Are you creating room for another possibility, or are you creating room for the same pattern? That's important too, right? How have I changed since this last occurrence? What have I changed since this last occurrence? Sometimes it's hard to believe that you'll always be taken care of, especially when you've had very disappointed experiences in life. It's hard to trust that. But I want you to know even though it's hard to trust the external factors, you can make more effort to trust yourself. You can make more effort to trust yourself. You deserve that, right? And trust yourself looks like just not giving up, getting grounded, creating a network of support to the best of your ability. Because sometimes we hang ourselves, right? Because we refuse to ask for help, or, we believe that we're a bother and all these other things. Here's the deal. There will be people you are a bother to. And I realize that a lot of times it has nothing to do with you. But those aren't your people, right? That is just that simple. Someone who's bothered by being in your life and supporting you, even if you support them in a way, those are not your people. And that's clear. They're making it clear. Hey, we don't align, because I don't have the desire to treat you properly, and you deserve somebody that's going to treat you properly. Okay? When things aren't working, it's so cool and crucial to just simply ask yourself, well, what is working? And then you pause, you take a look at your life. What is working? What's working in my favor? There have been so many transitions in the last few months, for me personally. And when I sit back and I really take a scan, there are a lot of things working in my favor. A lot of amazing and beautiful things just working for me. Just working for me. And I keep rising to the occasion myself, right? I am doing things to implement or to give these things room to work, to do their thing, to function in my life, to take better care of me. Recognizing that I deserve to be taken care of, game changer. Game changer. You know, and it's such a beautiful feeling because it removes this burden of like, you got to go through the world alone, or you got to do these things on your own. That's BS. That's BS. You don't go through the world with people who constantly make you feel like you're alone until they want your company, right? And wanting your company can look like a lot of things. They want your resources, they want your participation. But other than that, they're not present. Yeah, no. If life feels like it's crazy and it's out of sorts for you, I just want you to simply take a look around and ask, what is working? What is working for me? Do I appreciate this? How can I appreciate it more? How can I capitalize on it? How can I amplify it? And I know, like, how do I say this? I know everybody thinks they're a good person, and good is subjective. Yes and no. There are foundations of just being a genuinely good person. And when you are genuinely good to people or just show up in a genuinely good way, life takes care of you. You will deal with a lot of BS, but you stop dealing with it once you realize you are a solid person who deserves good in return. You stop dealing with it, so you take care of yourself. Like, you realize you are not a passenger in your life. You really are not a passenger in your own life. Once you understand that I am not a passenger in my own life, you recognize how much control or how much, input and participation you have in the dynamics. Yeah, you know what? Certain people may not meet you in that space. That's okay. You can stop showing up to that space. Drive. Okay? You're not a passenger. Okay? This dynamic is a hindrance to you. All right, cool. You're not a passenger. Drive. Create some boundaries. Do something for yourself. And even in your relationship with yourself, like, are you idle? Drive. You are not a passenger in your own life. You will never be a passenger in your own life. Drive. And if you can understand that concept, the world opens up. There will be frustrating moments. There will be doubtful moments. However, you can always drive. You are in your own car in this life. Everything you show up to, you are in your own car. And even if you do literally, you are the passenger in someone's car to an event or whatever, you know what? You can say, hey, I'm ready to leave. And if they don't want to, cool. All right. Depending on where you are, the circumstances, I'm going to take an Uber home. Or moving forward, I know to bring my own car next time. Or moving forward, I just don't go. I just don't go. All right? I am not a passenger in my own life. I can always drive. I want you to remember that. Okay? Yeah. Take a look at your life. And if things are kind of in this weird upheaval, I want you to just take a moment and ask yourself, what is working? What is working? And work more in that space. Okay? I'm accepting new one-on-one clients, virtual clients. I'll put the link in the description of this episode. The deadline is approaching for the North Film Festival. If you are a storyteller, filmmaker, and you want to submit your content, submit it. And if you ordered a coloring book, I'm getting these orders out. It's been a very big order in the last couple of months, so slowly tackling it. So thank you guys for your patience. You will get your book. Don't you worry about that. Yeah. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Truly take care of each other. And take flight.